This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Charges laid. The stepfather of two missing Pictou County children is accused of sexual assault against another adult. Woolly adelgids. Can these beetles help save Nova Scotia's hemlock trees? And meet this Nova Scotia woman going from behind the bench to refereeing at the upcoming Olympic Games.
Cold temperatures continue to be the story for Friday and into the weekend, but all eyes on our incoming Sunday-Monday storm. A full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. We have new details tonight about the stepfather of two missing children in Nova Scotia. Daniel Martel is facing a number of abuse charges related to an adult, but police aren't saying much more than that. The CBC's Ali Thompson has the latest.
Daniel Martel is facing charges of sexual assault, and forcible confinement. Martel is the stepfather of missing children Lily and Jack Sullivan. RCMP have confirmed they arrested 34-year-old Martel on Monday. Police say the victim is an adult, but are not providing any more details. Martel was living with Lily, Jack, and their mother when the children went missing from his family home in Lansdowne, Nova Scotia last May. The woods surrounding the home was searched for days, and RCMP Major Crimes has been conducting an extensive investigation. But little is known about what happened to the children, and so far, the case has not turned criminal. Earlier this month, RCMP Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon said none of the children's family members are suspects.
I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect. Again, we continue to gather information and whatever evidence that we are able to find, and we'll make our decisions based on that. But we are not in a position to really comment on suspects or anything like that at this time.
The mysterious nature of their disappearance has garnered international media attention. Martel has spoken publicly about what happened that day and the months that have followed. Martel is due in Pictou Provincial Court on March 2nd. Ali Thompson, CBC News, Halifax.
There are calls to change policing on First Nations in Atlantic Canada. It comes after two men were shot and killed by RCMP within 5 days in the region, one of them here in Nova Scotia. Family members and chiefs are now questioning the systems in place. The CBC's Sissa Mohan has more.
The racism continues, and this is the result. And if we don't fix it, if they don't fix it, more Indigenous people are going to die at the hands of police.
After two First Nations men were shot within 5 days in Atlantic Canada, families and communities are left grieving.
He was always funny, lovable. He was the best, like he was a good dad to his kids.
Bronson Paul of Nagutcook First Nation was shot and killed by New Brunswick RCMP in his home on January 18th. Police say they responded to a domestic dispute call that quickly evolved, and a man was armed with an edged weapon. Police say they fired a taser first, then an officer shot at Paul.
I want to say to the RCMP, what gives them the right to come onto our reservations, our communities, and shoot our people?
Just 5 days earlier, Daryl Augustine was shot and killed by Nova Scotia RCMP on a highway near Sebeganegati First Nation. RCMP said officers responded to a report of a man with a firearm in the community. Police followed him in his car when it came to a stop off the highway, where officers then shot him.
He wasn't a violent man. You know, he was a broken man, grieved man.
Augustine's aunt said he'd lost his partner to cancer 3 months prior and was in the midst of dealing with the loss.
It showed in mental health first and de-escalation-based response. I really think there's over-reliance on force in crisis situations.
Serious Incident Response Team, or CERT, is a police watchdog agency investigating both cases. Investigators are former RCMP members. Chiefs and community members worry about the absence of Indigenous involvement in investigations.
The feeling is outrage that this didn't have to happen, didn't have to go down this way. There's a lack of trust in the RCMP right now, and I'm not sure if we'll ever get it back.
Chiefs in the Atlantic are urging meetings with federal ministers and senior RCMP to find solutions. Sismohan, CBC Indigenous in Fredericton.
Former Nova Scotia MLA Ernie Fage has died. Originally a farmer, Fage first entered politics in 1997 when he won the Cumberland North seat. Over the next 22 years, he went to serve on several high-profile positions, including Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Minister of Economic Development, and Minister of Energy. A 2006 late-night driving incident derailed his political career. Fage rear-ended another car in downtown Halifax and then fled the scene. Fage was later found guilty of leaving the scene of an accident. He resigned from his cabinet position a few weeks later. He was 72 years old. The Nova Scotia government might not be able to say what the vacancy rate is for affordable housing in the province, but a senior official says they are in touch with the community housing sector and municipal governments to get a sense of what the market needs.
We try to scrape as much data as we can in order for us to make effective decisions around the housing market. An increase in vacancy rate helps everybody because that increases supply. The market demands will also demonstrate that if people are not able to afford those higher end products, those won't be built and be focused on other different market supply.
The overall vacancy rate for the province is 2.7%, but the executive director of the Nova Scotia Nonprofit Housing Association estimates it's closer to zero for affordable housing. Two of Nova Scotia Power's new Gridscale battery facilities are now operational. The Gridscale battery project is the largest battery installation in Atlantic Canada. Nova Scotia Power says the facilities now online in Bridgewater and Waverley will improve reliability of power service for customers and help the province achieve its goal of 80% renewable energy by 2030. Each 50-megawatt site can supply roughly 40,000 average homes for about 4 hours. A third site in White Rock is expected to come online in August of 2026. The project has a 20-year life and cost $237 million. Well, you definitely want power in these cold days of January.
Yeah, that's right. And the cold temperatures are going to continue. That's the big theme over the next couple of days, not only for us, but for most of eastern North America. As we look at the forecast model outlook here with these temperatures, and you can see this cold air is diving southward all the way down to the U.S. South. How about Orlando? -3 on Sunday morning. Why am I mentioning this? Well, this cold air clashing with this mild air, that's what's going to fuel our next coastal storm. And this is going to be working in late Sunday afternoon, more so Sunday evening, overnight, and into Monday. If the track is indeed near Sable Island, like this model is showing, we're going to be digging out from some significant snowfall, some gusty winds. Now, the track could still stay a little bit further offshore. Some of the other models are indicating that, but the bulk of the forecast model guidance is indeed showing some shovelable snow for sure. And so, yes, some uncertainty certainly there with the snowfall totals and the exact track, but it is looking more and more likely that we're going to be seeing some snow, and that snow will be heavier to shovel than our last event, closer to a typical maritime snowfall. Stronger winds, also higher potential for some strong winds with this storm. The severity highly dependent on the track of the storm and coastal impacts. It does look like pounding surf and higher than normal water levels are likely during high tide on Monday. We'll have another update on this one as we get closer to the storm.
I know you're watching. Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
2 years ago, scientists started introducing a species of beetle from British Columbia to Nova Scotia. The beetles eat a pest that's infesting and killing hemlocks. Some say the beetles are the key to saving the revered trees. The CBC's Taryn Grant brings us an update on how the bugs are faring in their new environment.
When the first tiny Laricobius beetle was released in Nova Scotia in 2023, one of the big questions was, will it survive? This particular species was brought in to eat the invasive hemlock woolly adelgid, which is sucking the life out of hemlock trees. The beetle is native to the mild coastal climate of British Columbia. With this in mind, the first ones were released on Nova Scotia's South Shore.
We feel that the climate there is a bit warmer, and that gives the beetles a better chance of establishing populations. We've had fantastic establishment, so we wait about a year for the next generation of the beetles to emerge, and so far we've had 100% establishment.
So the beetles passed their first test. The next question is, can they save the hemlocks? Fage says this approach, called biocontrol, worked in the eastern United States. There, predators brought hemlock woolly adelgid infestations under control within a few years.
We're hopeful that we'll see similar effects here. We're not naive in thinking that the adelgid will disappear. We just hope that we can reduce the population of the adelgid enough so that the trees can cope with what's left on there for adelgids.
Without biocontrol, scientists say the invasive pest would continue to spread and destroy. There are insecticides being used to kill it, but they're seen as a stopgap until the beetles can take over. Taryn Grant, CBC News, Halifax.
Former Ubisoft employees and their supporters rallied in Halifax this morning.
What is disgusting? That's damn right.
Dozens of people attended the rally in Grand Parade after the video game giant closed its Halifax studio earlier this month, putting 71 staff members out of work. The shuttering of the studio came a month after 60 Halifax workers formed Ubisoft's first union in North America. While employees and their supporters at the rally say the company is union busting, Ubisoft says they started restructuring the company well before the unionization process. PEI PC leadership candidate Rob Lance is floating the idea of a tunnel connecting Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. The idea came up during a leadership forum earlier this month. Here's what Lance had to say on the topic when he spoke to it with our CBC colleagues in PEI.
It's something that was brought to my attention. It's something that's been talked about seriously. We're not, we're not there yet, but it's certainly with technology these days. Look at the money that we throw at the ferry year over year over year. There comes a point where the tunnel technology becomes cost effective.
Last year, the Prime Minister asked premiers to come up with a list of nation-building projects. Lance says Mark Carney asked them to be bold, so they put the tunnel concept forward. A Nova Scotia woman has been named to the officiating team for the women's hockey tournament at the 2026 Winter Olympics. Shauna Neary got a nice send-off from the Halifax minor hockey team she helps coach at the last game before heading to Italy, and Josh Hoffman was there.
When Shauna Neary isn't behind the bench as an assistant coach for the U9 Halifax Hawks, she's refereeing women's hockey at the highest level. But this year will mark the first time she dons the stripes at the Winter Olympics. Players from her team and the opposing squad honored Neary prior to the last game she coached before heading to the Milano Cortina Games.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty emotional. You're having a few moments and you're going to the Olympics, but it's moments like this that it really starts to sink in.
Neary has spent the last 4 years working to earn a spot on this year's Olympic officiating team. She's refereed the Women's World Championships, the Olympic qualifiers, as well as PWHL games in Halifax and across North America.
To be honest, it was an uphill battle, just trying to earn your stripes, for lack of a better term. North America has really good core officials, so you're competing with your best friends, but also you're trying to support them on their journey as well.
But Neary says being a coach has given her an edge as a referee.
Like anything in life, communication is so critical, and so those moments when you need to step up and just have that conversation and build that rapport, definitely it's made me a better official for sure.
Other league officials agree Neary's ability to communicate with everyone on the ice is what makes her stand out.
I can tell you this firsthand, it's communication. I coach myself, and she's refereed in the league that I coach in as well, so she's really good at communicating with people, coaches, players, everybody.
Boy says that's why it's no surprise Neary's able to build great connections with the players on her team.
It's just her demeanor with the young kids. She's really great. Like, she's here every Saturday and Sunday in the mornings, and it's one thing to put skates on, but she's engaged every practice with the kids.
She's a really good coach. She's good at reffing. She's a really good person. She's really nice and stuff.
The Women's Olympic Hockey Tournament starts February 5th, and Neary says she's going to try to live in the moment as much as possible. Her players say they'll be watching her from here, and it'll be the first time they're cheering for a referee. Josh Hoffman, CBC News, Halifax.
A look at Pictou from earlier today. Ryan is up next with the full weather forecast. Please stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
And Ryan's back with his full weather forecast. I know all anybody wants to talk about is that storm that may or may not be a big impact on us. But before that, we have to get through all this cold weather, and it really is frosty.
Yeah, it's been relentless. We had that little warm spell in early January, and thank goodness for that. Yeah, because otherwise, really, it's just been full-on winter for December and most of January, which I think will finish colder than average again. We'll get those final numbers in a few days. But yeah, obviously the elephant in the room is that Sunday, Monday storm. Bit of buzz here in the newsroom, bit of buzz online, and I know everybody
wants the answer.
Everybody wants the answer. Unfortunately, we don't have the concrete answers tonight, but it is still looking like we could bring some significant snowfall. Have a look at first our temperatures out there right now. It's -6 to -15, Port Hawkesbury. That's our coolest spot, as well as Antigonish County, that Collegeville station there. And looking at the winds, yeah, they're in that 10 to 15 to 20. Westport, Yarmouth sustained in the 30 to 48 range with some gusts there in the 50 to 60 range. And we've been seeing those flurries blow onshore there throughout the day today. Wind chill values into the minus double digits and teens. And there's the weather systems map. And yeah, a few flurries that have been blowing in those onshore gusty northwest winds. And we're watching a trough that's off to the north here. And that is going to be moving southward tomorrow, bringing us more cloud cover. Good chance for some flurries. This low moving harmlessly offshore. It's this trough that sinks southward. And obviously watching that colder air, as I mentioned before, pushing all the way down into the U.S. south over the next couple of days. It's creeping there already. Nashville's at 3. Atlanta is at 8. And as we can see, temperatures 10 degrees in Calgary. Warmer in Calgary than Atlanta, Georgia right now. Most of central and eastern Canada, though, certainly feeling the chill. Now, for tonight, temperatures very similar to the last few nights, -10 to -15. Most of us in the -11 to 15 or 16 range, but some pockets possibly dipping a little bit cooler into the -18 to 20 range, inland low-lying areas. As we walk you through the timeline here, note that we've got the onshore flurry possibility overnight tonight and into Friday morning, Yarmouth, Shelburne, back into the Annapolis Valley region. And then throughout the day tomorrow, as this next trough approaches, the clouds even thicker into the afternoon and a pretty good chance for some flurries and the possibility of some light accumulation for the 104 from Amherst back to Antigonish, and then certainly up into Cape Breton, northern Cape Breton, looking most likely to see that accumulation. Temperatures -6 to -8 for most of the province tomorrow, maybe a bit milder in through Cape Breton, places like Sydney near -5. Westerly winds there, gusting 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Snowfall outlook by tomorrow morning, again, a trace possible, especially down here into the southwest, where we could see a couple of centimeters, looking a little more likely here in through the southwest by Saturday morning. And yeah, northern Inverness County in particular, a bullseye there, possibly in the 10 to 20 centimeter range by Saturday morning. Now looking at the wind chill forecast, and we're talking about wind chill values tomorrow, -15 to -20 to start the day, feeling deep into the -teens throughout the day. And Saturday, we're looking at a similar start to the day with temperatures -5 to -7 for highs, I should say -4 to -7, and a little bit of sunshine in the mix ahead of that next storm system. So there's the sun kind of coming out on Saturday afternoon. That area of high pressure anchored kind of over Quebec, that is going to be one of the key forecast features here as to where this low will track. And I can tell you that, yeah, it's the Canadian model that is, over the last 12 hours to 24 hours, been creeping a bit further to the southeast with the track of the southeast of Sable, which would keep us a little less snowy. But this has been the most consistent model, run after run after run. This is the European model. It also happens to be the snowiest solution, which really would bring us a significant shot. Beginning Sunday evening into the overnight. Again, this would be a shorter duration event than the last one. Heaviest snow in kind of a 12-hour period, and then tapering off to flurries as we move through Monday. It would also be a stronger wind system, especially if the track is what this model is showing, the European model. And so, yeah, we'll have to obviously hone in on those details tomorrow, 48 hours from the first flakes. And so I hope to give you a few more concrete details on that as we talk right here tomorrow. Amy.
Yeah, I know you are keeping a very close eye on everything.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for that, Ryan.
Thank you.
This week, hundreds of transport trucks filled with goods and food were stuck in North Sydney, unable to travel to Newfoundland because of the weather. Much of what goes to Newfoundland travels by boat, mostly by Marine Atlantic. Now, a new coalition of businesses and hospitality leaders says the service needs to be more reliable. The CBC's Leila Baudouin reports.
Getting on and off the island of Newfoundland isn't always easy. High seas and high demand can cause ferry delays or cancellations. But this group wants better service.
We need more capacity so that we have goods, people, and services delivered to Newfoundland and Labrador.
Marine Atlantic has signed a deal to charter a large ferry and help increase capacity, expected to be on the water this fall. But this group calls that a replacement, not a fix. From businesses to truckers, the coalition is calling on Ottawa to invest more into the service.
This has been almost a long accepted way of life for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, and we're saying that enough's enough. We need a fix. We need a solution.
The coalition says crossings are often full or canceled because of weather, and people and the economy are suffering. That it's not just about travel. It's one of the reasons why grocery shelves aren't always stocked with fresh vegetables.
90% of what you're getting on your in the produce aisles are coming on a truck. It doesn't come any other way, only live on Marine Atlantic on a live unit. So the capacity issue is, as you can see, we all went to Costco this week or the last week and you see what's on the shelves and what's going on there. So we need capacity. We need another vessel. Like, this is not acceptable for the province, am I right?
The coalition says it's calling on the provincial government to lobby the federal government. The backup isn't just felt here. They say the Marine Atlantic problems often start in Nova Scotia, where people and food are held up on the wharf, unable to cross. Leila Baudouin, CBC News, St. John's.
Coming up, the Conservative Party convention starts today with members set to vote on Pierre Poilievre's leadership. Thousands of members of the Conservative Party of Canada are in Calgary for their convention. Delegates will vote Friday on whether Pierre Poilievre should stay on as leader following the party's election loss last spring. And for more on this, we're joined by former party president Rob Batherson from Calgary. So this time last year, Mr. Poilievre and the Conservatives looked like they were poised for victory. And given the dramatic turn of events with the leader losing not only the election, but also his own seat, and then the 2 floor crossings to the Liberals, what message do you think Mr. Poilievre needs to deliver to get a second chance?
What he has been doing over the last number of months has been the hard work of meeting with Conservative Party delegates where they are. He was in Nova Scotia a few weeks ago, meeting with Nova Scotia delegates who gathered across the province in Halifax. He's been on the phone. He's been talking with delegates to listen, to hear their views as to where we need to go as a party to build on the strong foundation that was in place. The more than 8 million Canadians, the more than 200,000 Nova Scotians who voted Conservative. It wasn't enough to win, but it's an incredibly strong foundation to build on whenever that next election is called.
Now, have you heard any rumblings of a challenge to him at all?
No, not really, and which is kind of odd for the Conservative Party of Canada. We've been through a number of leadership elections over the last number of years, and we've been through obviously a caucus vote to replace Aaron O'Toole in 2022. But I think the people who are traveling from across Canada to come to this convention are doing so to provide a strong vote of support and confidence for Pierre Poilievre to take the party to the next level.
Now, he needs a majority of delegates, more than 50%, to vote no on triggering a leadership selection process. But what percentage do you think he really needs to have a solid show of support from the party?
Well, I don't think I'm going to get into speculating as to what level of support is necessary, but I'm confident it will be a strong vote to go forward, and we'll see when the votes are cast Friday night where that lands. But I'm anticipating an extremely strong show of support for Pierre Poilievre, because the people who are coming to this convention, and I look at my own riding where I live, and I was a candidate in the last federal election, we have a full slate of delegates who are attending convention. I am the only returnee to a convention. All of the delegates from Halifax West who are attending, it's their first convention, and by and large, they've been attracted to the Conservative Party of Canada because of Pierre Poilievre's leadership. So I'm expecting a strong vote of support for Pierre Poilievre, and we'll see where that number is come Friday night or early Saturday morning.
Now, in 2005, as you know, Stephen Harper captured the endorsement of 84% of the delegates. Is that a number you think would quell questions about Mr. Poilievre's leadership?
Amy, you do your homework so well. And of course, I was at that convention in Montreal. So, look, that was a strong show of support for Stephen Harper in 2005. I was there at that convention in Montreal, and that's a benchmark that obviously is out there. And we'll see what the vote materializes here in Calgary.
Do you expect to see a change in strategy from the party to not only keep the support of the political base that's there now, but also to win over other voters?
Well, I think we have seen modest changes in terms of the approach of the Conservative Party in recent months. Obviously, been more visible on conventional legacy media like CBC. You've seen Pierre do interviews more with conventional media, not only with independent media, to go where all the voters are. And so that's obviously been a change from in recent months. But also, I think spending more time explaining to voters the motivation, why Pierre Poilievre fights so hard for Canadians on cost of living issues, on making sure that young people can find homes, to make sure that seniors can retire and live in dignity and not have to make decisions in terms of whether to heat their home or feed themselves. And I think that pressure and focus on cost of living issues is why we see, in recent days, the federal government yet again try to move in that direction. So I expect the focus on the issues won't change, but spending more time to show Canadians why Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives fight so hard for them, and why Canada is worth really standing up and fighting for this country. That will be part and parcel of the approach that we're going to see at this convention and in the weeks and months to come.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks so much, Rob. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Amy. Always a pleasure, and have a great night to your viewers.
Coming up, premiers assemble in Ottawa as the renewal of the U.S. trade agreement approaches. And Donald Trump has a new pick to lead ICE agents in Minneapolis and admits that operations in the city need fixing. Welcome back. The issue of sovereignty was a hot topic at the First Minister's meeting in Ottawa today. BC Premier Chris Eby accused Alberta separatists of treason for meeting with White House officials. Ashley Burke tells us more about the accusation and the response to it.
At the Prime Minister's meeting with premiers all about uniting Canada, BC's leader speaking out against what he sees as a betrayal to the country. An Alberta separatist group meeting with Donald Trump's administration.
In my opinion, that is treasonous activity, and it needs to be called out. It needs to be stopped.
The Alberta Prosperity Group has been talking for months about its meetings with Washington. The separatist group is openly seeking a $500 billion line of credit from the U.S. to bankroll a new country if they ever win a referendum.
The people we're meeting with in the United States at a very senior level in the State Department are very clear that Alberta statehood is not on the table. They want a free and independent Alberta.
Now an official with the U.S. State Department confirms talks happened, but says no commitments were made.
I'm talking about crossing the border, soliciting the assistance of a foreign government to break up this country, and I don't think we should stand for it.
It's unacceptable. It's unethical.
Ontario's premier pointing the finger at his counterpart in Alberta to stop it.
This is an opportunity for Premier Smith to stand up and say enough is enough. And either you're with Canada or you're not with Canada.
Premier Smith says she doesn't want to demonize Albertans with grievances that built up under 10 years of Justin Trudeau.
I would expect that the U.S. administration would respect Canadian sovereignty and that they would confine their discussion about Alberta's democratic process to Albertans and to Canadians.
Late last year, the head of Canada's spy agency suggested they'll be watching for any possible foreign meddling in sovereignty referendums. But the Prime Minister wouldn't say if this constitutes foreign interference.
We expect the U.S. administration to respect Canadian sovereignty. I'm always clear in my conversation with President Trump to that effect.
Trump recently called Mark Carney governor and last week posted an AI-generated image online of the American flag covering all of North America. Now, this is the closest that Trump has gotten since the fall of last year to publicly reviving his idea that Canada should become the 51st state. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Pressure on the Trump administration to rein in immigration enforcement officials seems to be triggering change in Minnesota. The new commander of ICE spoke publicly for the first time. He acknowledged operations in the state haven't been perfect, and he laid out his plan to fix things, including reducing the number of officers taking part in the crackdown. Katie Nicholson has details.
Days after taking charge, the Trump administration's border czar delivered words many in the Twin Cities had been waiting for.
I have staff from CBP and from ICE working on a drop-down plan.
That, Tom Homan says, hinges on cooperation with local authorities and a change back to ICE's old tactics.
Target enforcement operations should happen across the nation. That's what we've done for decades.
That means focusing specifically on migrants with criminal records.
It just makes this operation cleaner, more efficient, and it's proven less violence.
And it comes as ICE officers in the state have been given new guidance not to engage with so-called agitators. Outside the federal building where this ICE operation has been headquartered, protesters aren't buying what Homan is selling.
Nope, not at all. So I don't trust them at all. So
not at all, just based on recent history. Look at the lies that have been given. They say one thing and another thing happens. So the proof is in the pudding.
Well, they perpetually lie, so I don't have any trust in what they say, basically.
In Washington.
So I'm looking for much more detail than he offered today.
Minnesota Senator Tina Smith needing more than words from Homan.
So we need to stop these roving bands of ICE agents, and until that happens, we still have a big problem.
On the Senate floor, Republican Senator Tom Tillis railed against Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
Her failed leadership has led to unconscionable results in Minneapolis.
There have been bipartisan calls for Noem's resignation since Alex Preddy's death at the hands of federal border agents. At today's cabinet meeting, Noem not among those called upon to speak.
Mr. President, you keep...
And the president took no questions. In Minneapolis, The resolve to end this immigration surge unwavering.
I hope I get to teach my nieces about as just a brief moment in American history when the country came to its senses and put an end to this.
Whether that end is near, still very much an open question. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
Canada's Coast Guard will soon be conducting security patrols. Legislation now before the Senate seeks more power for the civilian agency, which was absorbed by the Defense Department last year. But does that mean Canada should arm its Coast Guard fleet? The CBC's Murray Brewster has more.
We've known since last spring the Coast Guard was being absorbed into the Defense Department. But most of the debate has been fiscal. How adding the agency to the Defense Department's budget affects Canada's NATO spending contribution. Parliament, however, has been occupied with a different question for months now.
What steps will be required and equipment given to the Coast Guard to be able to defend itself while it's conducting these security patrols?
Right now, we're not looking at defending because we're not looking at being in a theater where there'd be confrontation. Right now, we're looking at occupying a space where that can be occupied and where we can collect information and pass it on to our colleagues at DND.
Arming the Coast Guard isn't something Canada has done since the Second World War. Now, the commander of the Navy is weighing in, saying unless there is a war, it's not necessary.
So in a wartime scenario, where we think there's going to be an attack on Canada, I think we take a look at everything and we try and figure out what to defend. But in all of the scenarios we're talking about in crisis and in competition, I don't see any real reason to go through the thing of fundamentally changing the character of the Coast Guard and arming it unless there's a compelling reason to do so.
Some defense experts and the opposition Conservatives have begun to question that, especially given the perceived threats in the Arctic and the military buildup up there. They argue that countries like China and Russia use their Coast Guard ships in a fundamentally different way and point to the number of clashes that have happened in the South China Sea. Canada is the only Arctic country that doesn't have an armed Coast Guard in one form or another. Admiral Topshee says there are ways to quickly beef up the defenses of Coast Guard ships through the addition of containers with specialized equipment, but he doesn't see the need to do so. The Senate is now considering legislation which gives the Coast Guard a bigger mandate for coastal surveillance and intelligence sharing. It could potentially become law later this winter or in the spring. Murray Brewster, CBC News, Ottawa.
StatsCan says the country posted a $2.2 billion merchandise trade deficit for November. The agency says exports fell for that month and dropped significantly from a $400 million trade deficit in October. The biggest drops were in mineral products and auto industries. Minerals fell by more than 24%, while motor vehicles and parts were down over 11%. The decline in the auto industry is the lowest in 3 years. The ongoing trade war with the United States is a key contributing factor in the increased trade deficit. Just 2 weeks after Prime Minister Mark Carney was in China to reset relations, another Western nation is doing the same. The leader of the UK is in Beijing, looking to boost trade and deepen ties with the world's second largest economy, at a time of heightened concerns about the reliability of the US. Crystal Gomansing has more on the visit.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the British delegation had 80 minutes worth of FaceTime with Chinese President Xi Jinping, and it was productive. British citizens will no longer require visas to visit China on trips under 30 days.
The relationship is in a good place, a strong place, so opening up access to business, opportunities, seizing those opportunities, which then gets reflected in better businesses, in jobs, in price reductions at home.
Starmer also says there were good discussions when it comes to tariffs on whiskey, as well as Chinese parts used on small boat engines. Now that is a critical domestic issue for the Labour leader, as those parts play a role in illegal people smuggling operations that cross the English Channel. China has the world's second largest economy, and it's seen as prudent for leaders to create some partnerships with China, especially as the West looks for stable, long-term deals given the unpredictability of U.S. President Donald Trump. Canada, Finland, and France have also recently undertaken similar visits to bolster economic ties. Shesha May is a political scientist with the RAND Corporation and says these deals are good for China as well.
Chinese discourse has always revealed that they view Europe as a critical piece in helping China provide some kind of cushion or counterbalance against the so-called American imperialism.
UK drug maker AstraZeneca announced today it would be investing £11 billion to expand manufacturing, research and development. That is the biggest deal so far during the Prime Minister's trip to Beijing. It's unclear if those deals will be enough to silence critics of the UK visit, who say the Prime Minister should be challenging China on human rights and spying allegations. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, London.
Health experts around the world are closely watching an outbreak of a deadly virus in India. Indian officials say they've contained its 2 cases of the Nipah virus, but a number of the region's airports have heightened screening as a precaution. The CBC's Salima Shivji has the latest from Mumbai.
The 2 confirmed cases of Nipah virus are in India's West Bengal state to the east, and health officials here say that those are the only 2 cases of the rare virus to be detected since December. But more than 190 people are in quarantine after having had some sort of contact with the 2 people who were infected with the deadly virus, both of them healthcare workers, according to a local doctor that I spoke with. Now, those in isolation have tested negative for Nipah virus so far, but they are constantly being monitored and screened, since the maximum incubation period for this deadly virus can be as long as 21 days. Indian officials say that the outbreak is contained, and an infectious disease and clinical microbiologist that I spoke with in Kolkata says that's because of early detection and treatment.
So the 2 cases which have been diagnosed were properly taken care from different organ system support, and now one is out of danger and another one is recovering. So you can say mortality is still now nil.
But there is still fear that this could spread, and that is because Nipah virus, which is usually transmitted to humans through animals like pigs or fruit bats, is highly contagious and there is no vaccine. It's also very difficult to diagnose and deadly, a fatality rate of between 40 and 75%, according to the World Health Organization. And that's why we're seeing advanced and enhanced screening in airports across Asia. Pakistan is the latest neighboring country to announce that it is going to be screening for the virus because of what it's seeing here in India. That's along with what we're already seeing: thermal screening, temperature checks, and other measures in airports across Asia, including in countries like Thailand, Indonesia, as well as Singapore, as a precaution because of how deadly this virus can be, and also because there has been basically a small outbreak of Nipah virus every year in Asia since it was first detected in 1999. The last major outbreak here in India was in the southern state of Kerala, where 17 people died and 2 more died in 2023. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Mumbai.
The European Union has listed Iran's Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization, a step Canada took back in 2024. A warning: a brief image you're about to see may be disturbing. The EU's foreign policy chief says the designation is in response to the regime killing thousands of its own people. Officials estimate the death toll of the most recent round of protests to be at least 6,000. The United States has already listed the Iranian regime as a terrorist organization, and Donald Trump is openly threatening military action against Iran. Along with the designation, the EU has also sanctioned 15 Iranian officials.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, so just a couple more days till January's over.
Yeah, that's right. Hard to believe.
Yep.
The longest month, maybe,
Yes,
feeling, but also it's been so busy, it has kind of flown by.
Yeah, for you especially.
Yeah, let's have a look at our viewer picture of the day. Lots to talk about here as we zoom in on, actually, I forgot to update. This is actually Lower Prospect where we're going to go, not Ski Martok.
Okay.
That was yesterday. So the map is outdated, but the picture is fresh.
That's beautiful.
So thanks to Mark Larson for sharing this. Lower Prospect, a great picture, some sea smoke there, and those chilly mornings.
It does not look warm at all.
No, but beautiful nonetheless. Thanks to Mark for sharing Ryan's picks at cbc.ca. Okay, so hour by hour, onshore flurries, Yarmouth down through Shelburne and through the Annapolis Valley region overnight and into tomorrow morning. Could even see a flurry into the metro area as well. And then tomorrow we've got this trough moving in from the north, and that will bring more widespread flurries into the afternoon under pretty cloudy skies. The best chances of some light accumulation tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening will be along the 104 stretch from Amherst to Antigonish and then into Cape Breton, more so overnight, Friday in through Saturday. By the time that system moves through, could see maybe 10 to as much as 20 centimeters for the Cape Breton Highlands. Friday's temperatures, -6 to -8 on the mainland, -5 to -7 across Cape Breton. And then for Saturday, temperatures anywhere from -4 to -7. That coastal storm continues to be all the talk, and if this is the track, then we will be really digging out. But I can say that, the Canadian model guidance has been trending further to the south and east. And so if you have done enough snow digging and shoveling, there's still some hope.
We're allowed to root for one over the other?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
That sounds good. All right, if you think you and some friends have big appetites, this pizza spot might just be for you. A new pizza shop in Vancouver is claiming they make the world's largest deliverable pizza. It's a 54 by 54 inch pie that has to be made in an extra large oven before it's delivered in a heated box that sits on top of a car.
The larger than life pizza costs $350 for the one topping variety. It includes about 200 slices and typically feeds between 50 and 70 people. The pie also takes 4 people to deliver to its destination.
Don't drop it, is all I can say.
Pretty awesome.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.